All right, guys, I'm Dr. Haad, double board certified MD, biochemistry major. I want to talk to you guys about the 80-20 rule of GLP-1 therapy, which I've created for my patients, specifically discuss this with all my patients before they start therapy. If you're looking to start on GLP-1 therapy, or if you're on GLP-1 therapy, or if you got off for any reason, all of the above, this is for you. Let's talk about it. So this is the most important thing to know, is that 80% of your GLP-1 therapy, that's a vast, stark majority of the treatment, is going to be the lifestyle choices you make. The other 20%, that's my job. Choosing the right medication, careful dose titration, monitoring for side effects, making sure risks and benefits are discussed, making sure it's a safe fit for you are going to be the 20%. But the 80%, the stark majority, comes from what you do at home. That's going to come down to the most important things, which is going to be maintaining or building muscle mass. It's really, really important to tell your provider. If you're not able to maintain or preserve your muscle mass, if you feel like you're getting weaker, if you're tracking your body composition, you're noticing your muscle mass decreasing, that's a sign that your GLP-1 dose may be too high. You should tell your provider potentially to decrease the dose, talk to your provider about other things you could do. One of the most important ways to maintain that muscle mass is going to be by hitting your protein targets. So we aim for 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. People will tell me that's a lot of protein. Well, I'll tell you what, if you can hit that much protein, I guarantee you're not gonna have a lot of room left for bad stuff. It keeps you honest to make sure you're getting adequate protein and you're not having late night cravings for carbs because you're already full, right? Protein is also a satiety signal. If your body needs extra carbs, extra calories, if your body needs extra energy, it can make it from the protein. So you're not gonna be in a situation where you're not gonna get enough energy. And remember, protein preserves muscle mass. We wanna maintain or build muscle mass at all. Number 3, exercise regularly. Please, please, please don't consider a GLP-1 if you're in a position where you cannot exercise. This includes people who have an injury, people who have surgery coming up. If you're in a situation where you cannot exercise, delay your GLP-1 therapy because it is going to make you lose muscle mass if you're not exercising to try to preserve your muscle. If you're not exercising and you're losing muscle mass, then you're gonna become less insulin sensitive, and we'll talk about how that's an issue in a moment. Number 4 and 5, basics, guys. Avoid processed carbs and seed oils. Eliminate toxic habits. If you're drinking, it's gonna make it worse. It's gonna make you more nauseous. You're gonna get vomiting. Smoking, sedentary behavior, processed foods, seed oils, these are all gonna cause inflammation. They're gonna move you in the wrong direction, and they should all be avoided, okay? Let's talk about why preservation of muscle mass is so important. All right, so think of all the places in your body that can store glucose as energy as a large tank, okay? So think of it like this. The 2 places your body can store glucose are gonna be your muscles and your liver. The size of your liver is pretty much finite. It's not gonna change over time as you age unless you get fatty liver disease and it gets bigger, but that's a different story. Generally, your liver is gonna hold a certain amount of energy and it's not gonna get bigger. And that's about 100 grams, okay? Now your muscles are gonna hold the remainder of your glucose. And remember, they hold the glucose in something called glycogen. Glycogen is just chains of glucose, but basically that's the way they hold it. That's the energy currency in your liver and in your muscles. Now your muscles can get much bigger, right? And so you can go from 200 grams to 300 to 600 grams. For example, if somebody increases their muscle mass, that tank is gonna get a lot bigger. So this tank is gonna look more like this if you're exercising regularly, building muscle, hitting your protein targets, so that the tank actually increases and you can actually hold more glucose because your muscles got bigger. This part of the equation has now increased significantly because your 300 gram storage is now 600 gram storage because you have so much muscle mass. So increasing muscle mass increases that tank, which increases the amount of carbs that can be held as glycogen in your muscles, because again, the liver can't really grow or hold more. It has a certain amount that it can hold. Now, the other thing that's important to understand, and the reason exercise is so important, is because you want that tank to be empty when you're receiving carbohydrates. So if the tank is already full, there's no more room in it because you already had a bunch of carbs earlier, guess what? Your next meal that you have is gonna overflow. When it overflows into fat. So now you gain fat. That's how you gain fat, because your liver and your muscles can't hold any further glycogen, and so your glucose has to go somewhere. It gets stored as fat. Now, if you exercise, you're gonna use up your liver glycogen right here. You're gonna use it up. It's gonna go down. And now you have an empty tank. So the empty tank after you exercise is gonna increase insulin sensitivity of your muscles through the GLUT4 receptor, which we'll talk about momentarily, but that's gonna allow glucose to then enter your muscles and enter the tank and fill it up next time you have carbs after your exercise, right? Super important to understand, because 2 really important ways that exercise is gonna help prevent you from flowing over into fat, because your tank is gonna be empty when you exercise, where you can then store the carbohydrates, and the tank is gonna get much bigger when you exercise and build muscle. So build muscle, preserve muscle, hit your protein targets, exercise, and you're gonna have the best chance at a good GLP-1 outcome, and this is why. So when we burn off the excess glycogen in our muscles through exercise, now the tank is empty. When the tank is empty, we become significantly more insulin sensitive. And so this diagram is crucial to understand how exercise influences insulin sensitivity and allows for better carbohydrate metabolism. So basically what happens is regularly you have insulin hit your insulin receptor, okay, of your muscle cells, and you have these little glucose molecules here floating around your bloodstream, and regularly you don't have a significant amount of these GLUT4 transporters on the cell membrane of the muscles in a more insulin resistant environment where only maybe some of these glucose molecules are going to get into the muscle cell, because most of these GLUT4 vesicles are actually trapped inside the cell as opposed to being on the cell membrane where they can participate in allowing for the insulin response to happen, which is then for glucose to come into the cell. Now, after you exercise, you get a significant translocation of these GLUT4 vesicles to the cell membrane, and now you've just lined up all these GLUT4 transporters right here in the cell membrane that are just ready to go. And when insulin, these little purple dots are insulin, when insulin hits the receptor, guess what? All this glucose is immediately going to be coming into the cells through these channels that have translocated to the cell membrane. That's literally how exercise influences insulin sensitivity by translocating GLUT4 transporters from these vesicles to the cell membrane to allow the glucose to come in. This is why exercise is so critical, because otherwise, guess what's going to happen to all this glucose that's floating around that can't get into the muscles? It's going to get stored as fat. That's what happens to insulin resistance. When you get insulin resistance, you barely have any of these GLUT4 transporters here. The muscle is basically not getting the glucose from the blood. It's basically starving itself, but the blood is full of glucose. Where is it going? It's getting stored as fat. That's why when you exercise, you get improved glucose uptake, you get lower blood glucose, more energy because your muscles can actually take up the glucose, turn it into glycogen so they're ready for the next exercise. You get better metabolic health, body composition benefits because you're going to be burning that fat, and then enhanced performance and recovery. So this basically shows you why it's so important to exercise, not just for the way you look, but the way actually your glucose metabolism inside your body is going to change the way you process carbs, and it's going to change the way you're processing and burning fat. This is why exercise is a non-negotiable if you want to prevent insulin resistance and if you want to be as insulin sensitive as possible and live as long as you can. So in conclusion, your provider should never increase your GLP-1 dose if any of these things are happening. So number one, if you can't exercise at least 3 to 5 times per week because you feel too sluggish, you feel too tired, GLP-1 slowed you down, that's a red flag. Your dose should actually be decreased to make sure that you can exercise at least 3 to 5 times a week to improve your insulin sensitivity, like we talked about, help you burn fat, help empty that tank that we talked about, that glucose tank. If it's empty, you have more room to store carbs in the future. If the tank is full and you can't exercise, you're just gonna store it as fat. That's how you get skinny fat on a GLP-1. All right, number two, meet your protein targets. If you can't meet your protein targets because you're too nauseous, your GLP-1 dose is too high, again, come off gently, ask your provider, tell them about it, get some nausea medication, Zofran if you need it. But if you can't hit the protein targets because your dose is too high, guess what? You're gonna lose muscle mass, that tank is gonna get smaller. Smaller tank means more energy is gonna get stored as fat because the tank is too small. That means now you're skinny fat again. So these two things right here are literally gonna contribute to becoming skinny fat. They're very, very important to do, and don't increase your dose if these are happening. So number three, again, same concept, maintain or build lean muscle mass. If you're losing a significant amount of muscle mass, that's literally why we need to do body composition testing as opposed to scale weight testing. So very easy to get. You can order them on Amazon. Just make sure you're using the same scale every time, so there's not variance between one scale and a different scale, unless you're doing DEXA scanning, in which case that would be consistent and pretty much the gold standard. Finally, if you're losing more than 5 to 8 pounds per month, which averages to about 2 pounds per week, that's generally too fast of weight loss, and that's when people get the issues like the Ozempic face, the sunken in face, where all the issues that people get are generally from losing weight too fast. So watch that weight, make sure it's not coming down too quickly. If it is, another reason you should maybe back off on the dose, at least talk to your provider about it. Lastly, and what happens if we're increasing the dose without these safeguards? Basically, you're gonna decrease muscle mass, decrease insulin sensitivity, decrease your basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate means how much you're burning at rest or baseline. If you're burning less at rest and less at baseline, that means when you get off the medication, you're gonna gain the weight right back because now you're burning less calories after the treatment than when you started, which means it'll be easier to gain the weight back after that than before. So keep an eye on these things. If this is happening during your treatment, talk to your provider about it. If your provider's not addressing these, I'm happy to help you. If you want to switch over to me as your provider, I'm licensed in 7 states, happy to help. But otherwise, this is a thing that you want to look out for to prevent a poor GLP-1 outcome.